Going over a modification for a half kneel hip flexor stretch. So sometimes getting all the way down to the floor is not necessary, or we want to have it a little bit elevated for a variety of reasons. So I have a Pilates box here. Whatever you use, it needs to be nice and steady and stable. And instead of putting your knee down on the floor, you're going to put your knee down on the box. I have a foam roller because sometimes we use half kneeling positions for stability and balance, but when it comes to stretching, it's really just about lengthening the muscle. So if we can create as much stability as we can, so your body doesn't have to kind of work to maintain it, you'll get a greater stretch and relaxation response of the muscles. So I'll show you two angles so you can just see the setup. So whichever side you're gonna, you start on one side of the box, one knee is gonna go down on the box. And the key is, you'll see this in the side angle, but you wanna have your foot on the box. You don't want your toes flat and hanging off because you want to flex them up and dig them into the floor. Again, I'll show you what those look like. Once you're there, I have this just for some support. Okay, you can use a wall if you're kind of up close to a wall, but I recommend this just so you're not like trying to stabilize, which is a good exercise if that was our goal, to work on stability. But right now, again, we're just trying to lengthen and elongate the muscles in the front of the hip and the thigh, so we can really maintain that necessary hip mobility for walking, running, all the things that we need it for. So one knee down and one foot down onto the floor. You just want to be nice and tall. I will tell you personally, I can already feel a stretch. I didn't even do anything. I'm just in the position. So if you already feel a stretch, great. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe this is where you hang out. You want to make sure your pelvis is level so that you're not hiking one side up. You're being as level as possible. If this doesn't feel like a stretch quite yet, or it's really minimal, you can engage your tush muscles and tuck your tail under, like you're trying to scoop your tail forward, and you will increase, that feels like a bigger stretch, the stretch anywhere from the front of the hip, kind of lower abdominal area, anywhere into the thigh. So if you feel stretchy, whatever's most restricted is going to stretch that area. So you could feel it in any of those spots. So you can tuck and hold and then let it go. So it's a little bit of a pelvic rocking motion where you turn that stretch on a little bit for a few seconds, maybe about 5 seconds, and then you back off of it. Okay, and you can keep repeating that, or you can just do a prolonged tuck and hold, and you're holding this for a prolonged amount of time, which for me would be at least 30 seconds and sometimes up to 2 minutes. Okay, so same thing, just on a different angle. And if you're someone that is sensitive in your knee, feel free to put something squishy like a rolled up mat or a balance pad if that feels good. Again, none of this should feel uncomfortable. So just the side angle so you could see, you don't want your foot off the box. You want your toes, your ankle flex, so your toes are up. That is going to increase the angle at the knee, which is going to help you find that length through the front. And then the tucking motion, it's like a scooping, right? So you're just stacked up nice and tall. You don't want to be forward or you won't feel a stretch. You want to just be up nice and tall, and you tuck your tail under, right? So I'm tucking and I feel a nice stretch through the front of my quad, and then you let it go. So that's one option that I was demonstrating before. And then the last thing just to take note of is your hip and your knee, they're in a relationship to each other. You're not lunging forward like this. That puts the force in a very different part of the tissues in our body, which that is not what we're going for in this particular stretch. We're going for more of the muscles. So you want your hips stacked up right on top of your knee, and you're getting that stretch by tucking under.